Welcome everyone to our Tuesday night chat. It's so good to have you all here and those that are in the room. Fantastic Tuesday night. Those of you who were at our barn dance on Saturday, it was so much fun. I can't get over what a great night it was, how many great people were there and the dancers, and it just was a boom. Sorry if you live on the other side of Australia and couldn't be there, but we need to really just have my self-reliance everywhere so that you can experience the good fun that we had. And so thank you to those who are our hub leaders who are in the room, and we're just gonna make it happen. Tonight I need to tell you that we are 1 week away from our first draw. So we have raffle tickets being sold on our website with amazing prizes going off. And next week on this call, we will do the first of our 2 draws. And so if you buy a raffle ticket and you don't win next week, there's some major prizes going off. Wilma is giving away 10 X39 Life Wave patches, which you don't want to miss out on those. So buy a ticket, $5, or you can get if you get a batch of 20 tickets for $60, it brings that price down to $3 a ticket. So it's really, really good value. More tickets, more chances to win. Go on the website, www.myselfreliance.com.au. Have a look at all the prizes there. Thank you to all of our sponsors. And then we have a second chance draw on the 2nd of September. So keep those entries coming in, because even if you don't win the first round, there's some really great prizes, including a month of personal coaching from Lifestyle by Liv. That's up for next week. A trip for 2, staying for 2 nights at Lily Pond's retreat. You could win a ticket to the Freedom Summit. So many good prizes on offer. Okay, don't miss next Tuesday when we will draw the winners for those. So, alrighty then. Welcome, Freeman.
Hello, thanks for having me again, Kelly, and so good to be back with everyone, with your beautiful community.
Now, I've asked Freeman to come back because Freeman is famous for the book that he wrote, Travel to Transform. And last time we spoke a little bit about the travel and, what that was like in terms of, transformation. But this time, I know Freeman, because I follow Freeman a lot with his work that he does through Mindvalley, and I love the work of Mindvalley. Many of you who have done my Jigsaw program know that I recommend Mindvalley as a way of personal growth and development in so many different aspects of your life. And recently, Freeman has been over to Dubai for the Mindvalley convention. And I just wanted him to bring back all of his wisdom and share his knowledge and growth, but also because he's a man of community, and so we're all about community this year, being that our theme is community is everything. So Freeman, tell us, I know you're going to tell us all about your trip and some of the learnings. Where would you like to start?
Yeah, I see it's going to be a beautiful conversation. Especially, I love the topic, for this year, especially community. Because even before we start this call, right, I think some of the questions around AI and technology and what is going to be replaced and what's not, right? And one thing for sure, especially, what we believe in our conscious community is that, community itself, it can't be replaced no matter how advanced technology is going to be. And in fact, right, the more advanced technology is going to be, because it's going to replace many of the labor and man hours that we don't need to put in anymore. We can use those time and energy and efforts to put into building genuine relationship as a species instead. So yeah, like I think how are we going to start? Like there's so much I could share from the Dubai trip and also from Mindvalley itself. But maybe I would just walk through a little bit of the context about me building community and how actually community has changed my life. Because I feel like that might be more relevant to everyone as well, and how to actually leverage using community to really build a thriving life for success, right? Because in my earlier journey, when I first started traveling solo myself, right, I made the mistake. I thought I have to do it all alone. Right.
Mm.
I don't know if you resonate, like we live in a society, especially with the Western education system, is that we have to do it all alone, right? We have to figure it all out. We have to be that person to have that solution for all the problems, right? In order for people to see the worth in us, so people to see, this is the leader, right? But that's a very old way of looking at things or even living life, right? Because the new way is actually, what if we can go into this collective consciousness, right? Or this collective way of building our life. And during my travel, as I actually went through my own personal transformation, as I think I shared last time in the call, but for those of some of you who haven't met me at the expo or the Freedom Life Summit or our last call, I moved to Sydney, Australia around December 2019. So I first experienced Australian bushfire and then COVID lockdown right away. So that was like the quote unquote the perfect combination for me to have this first experience, first impression to be in Australia, and prior to that, I've been moving around the world, living in around like 5, 6 different countries, and I never stayed in the same country for over a year. That's kind of like my solo travel journey. That okay, I thought it's amazing, it looks amazing on social media. I got paid to travel. I work for a multinational company, and the funny thing is, right, deep down, I still feel something was missing. Like I thought I had it all. I thought I was at a young age. I get paid to travel the world. Like everyone dream about that, right? I certainly did, but I still didn't feel fulfilled. Something was so underlined. So when I was in Sydney, Australia, experienced bushfire and COVID lockdown, that was the time finally I experienced my rock bottom. Literally, while I was locked down, there's no more traveling, there's no more going out for drinks, there's no more building relationship or social life. I still remember I actually in around August time, right in 2020, I lost most of my saving from the stock market in 1 week. And emotionally, I was still attaching to a British lady I was dating back in Hong Kong. That's where I originated from. And my mind, body, spirit just went down the drain all at the same time. My mind was shattered, and then my physical health, I was identified with CFS as well, with chronic fatigue syndrome, which means I'm just so tired. Even I was at my 20s, I was just so tired. I was just feeling so old. I have no energy at all to go through my day. And I have severe insomnia as well. So my physical health, my mind, my spirit were all shattered at once. And it was very funny because at that time, right, during lockdown, actually, Mindvalley was a platform. It actually pops up. In my internet feed, right? And for those of you who may not know, Mindvalley is the world's biggest personal growth platform now. And it's kind of like a cutting edge, app and platform where, it offers all in one shop stop, different personal growth modality. Anything we don't get to learn from traditional education, you'll get your hands on there. From anything about the mind, from meditation to breath work to more like spiritual quests with, Michael Backward as well. I believe some of your people in your community last time when I was speaking, they know Michael Backward as well. And Dr. David Hawkins and, some of those map of consciousness work as well. So many of those are actually all available in Mindvalley. So when I went through this platform, right, it literally changed my life, changed the way I see, personal growth, changed the way I understand community, because I realized, wait, I actually don't have to do it alone, right? There's like this whole global community of people. Actually, they are all interested in creating this self-awareness, right? In going into this self-development. And when you do it together, you actually go so much further, right? This is the African proverb, right? If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Right. And that really woke me up, during that COVID lockdown as I finally start going back into my personal growth, but at the same time my hands were held by my mentors, my coaches, a beautiful community who is like-minded. I realized, wow, I don't have to do it alone. And because of that, it really transformed my life from that place of surviving to today in a place of thriving. And I think last time when Kelly introduced me, some of you may know, I published a best-selling book. I've done a TEDx talk, right? Last year, I was traveling. I speak on 7 different stages overseas, and getting to travel and living in a life and coaching people who are aspire to improve humanity, and like really being in alignment again with my life, living in my purpose. So yeah, that's kind of like a quick story about how community actually plays in my life and how it plays such an integral part in my personal transformation. And I believe in today's conversation, it will be really, really useful to help, all the listeners, those who are watching, recording again, to be able to actually utilize community as one of your transformational tool in your life as well, so that you can accelerate creating fast success in your life, right? Not just success, right? It's fast success being the key word, right? Because it is a catalyst, being able to surround with people, leaders like Kelly, right? Being able to surround yourself with people like Kelly, you are able to actually realize so much more as you are stepping into your greatness together with a group of people who you can feel safe, who you can feel not being judged, right? That you can play big, right? That you can dream big. And yeah, so that's the power of community itself. And yeah, Kelly, what do you think? Where should we go next?
Yeah, I know you summed it up beautifully, and that's the thing is that within the community we I love what you said. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And together we all bring something to the table, all right? And it's here you get on a Tuesday night, you get to hear somebody brilliant every week, like Freeman, and we all grow. And I love that saying as well. You are the sum of the 5 people you hang around. And so it's those, people who are influencers in your life, whose voices are in your head, who you're become a match with. And so tell us, so within the communities that now, Freeman, I think this is right. You've been pivotal in the Mindvalley community, Australia, right? Bringing the Mindvalley community to Australia. Is that right? Because that's how I was introduced to you. Like, oh, if you want to reach out to anyone in Mindvalley, Freeman's the man to go to.
Yeah, so I have the fortune to serve the Australia community over the last 4 years now. Here with Mindvalley as a volunteer, I actually don't get paid. A lot of people they get the impression that I work for Mindvalley, but I actually work with Mindvalley as a volunteer. And the reason for that is because when I have, when I went through my personal transformation, I received so much, from the community itself. And I can tell you, like, prior to that, I never really used words like service. I never really used words like bonding and connections and community. I was a solo traveler and I was having this fixed mindset, especially I think growing up in patriarchal societies as well, not just in Australia, but, all around the world, that we are in a very heavily dominated, male society that, we all want people to be the leader, to be not showing their emotion, to be stoic, right? And being able to actually transform that, I realized, wait, I can here to open my heart to serve as well, right? What if I raise my hand to say I want to try, right? What if I say, even though I'm not perfect, I may not be like the perfect leader, but I want to serve in a way that I can, right? That question actually opens up again so many doors for me. So long story short, back in around when my family came into my life during lockdown, right, as I start going through their quests, right, we call them quests, but it's like an online course, but it's infused in a transformational methodology, rather than having like a full very long online course that is traditional, how traditional education teaches that in curriculum. So I think that's why Kelly also recommend that in her jigsaw method as well. And after around like couple of months in, right, when I was in Mindvalley, and that I started asking a question. It's like, wow, this is amazing. I learned so much about the power of the mind. I learned so much about meditation. I learned so much about the different brainwave and neuroscience and Dr. Joe Dispenza, and read so many different books, right? But where are the people? Where are the people? So when I ask that question, where are the people? God or the universe or your higher self, no matter what belief system you allow, it has a humorous way of dropping it down. Because when I opened the Mindvalley app, I saw the Mindvalley team actually they are recruiting for an ambassador for Australia, and I was thinking, yeah, there's no people around me. There's no community around me. I really want to connect with people who are doing the same thing, right? So I raised my hand. I went through the interview. I talked to the team, and I told them, like, I have no experience of this before. I never organized any community or event meetup, but I would try. Like I've received so much from, this amazing, amazing platform and also from my mentors and coaches. Why not? Let's try. So that really opens up as I try, right? As I really start creating the space or holding space for others, I receive 10 times, 100 times more from, again, the universe. Because in a way that the more we give, it's actually a way that we are telling the universe that we have, right? We have more than enough. And in order for us to be able to give, we have to tell the, it's a signature that we have more than we thought we need so that we can keep giving, right? And it's the same when it comes to building community. Because sometimes, again, right, me coming from the corporate, I don't know whether you have the same thought, but we have to have certain position, we have to have authority, we have to have certain accolade in order for us to step up to be a leader, right? Or to create a community event space. But actually, that's so not true because in actual like-minded, non-judgmental, and safe community, right? Every single person in that community is a leader itself, right? You can decide to be a leader as long as you step up, right? To be able to share what you believe in, right, with the people around you. And that's it, as simple as it is. And being a leader, or I should say, being a transformational leader, right, it means you are being that leader standing in the middle as the source of a transformed world, right? And if you put it in that perspective, it means you're always that source of creating change around you, right? And then when you can bring this mindset, when you can bring this energy into any communities you are in, right? With myself Reliance, when you're doing abundance, right? When you're doing attending different programs or doing organic farming or fermentation, right? When you bring that energy or bringing you yourself into that space, that's going to transform the whole space, right? Not just your relationship with the people there, but actually the whole collective space, right? And I believe that's how, what I learned, of building communities. Because Mindvalley is a platform, is amazing. But at the same time, I believe that soft skills of building genuine connections is the same, regardless the platform, regardless of the community you are in. Yeah.
Well, at that point, I just want to add a plug for anyone who would like to have my self-reliance in your area, just like Wilma is our hub leader in Perth. We are looking for hub leaders, and for that reason, like I just maybe that's a good incentive to be a hub leader is because of what you just shared, Freeman, is that you when you step up and you give that, then the universe gives more back to you. Uh,
Exactly. And I believe, like to share even further, as you mentioned, being a hub leader, right? Like when I first raised my hand to serve, I never really expect there was so much coming into my life, right? In fact, when we mentioned about Dubai, right, about the Future Human trip I just went to in January this year, that was actually my seventh Mindvalley overseas event. And as you may know, I've been speaking in Estonia in their annual event as well. In the Mindvalley University, we call it university, but it's like a transformational event, 3 weeks. We do breath work and different workshops, and we have transformational speaker in the space. And we have also this space called Super Coach Summit as well, where we have, a lot of certified coaches and health coaches all in one place as well from, over 100 different countries, all come together. And, I've been very fortunate to attend all those events and being able to, go beyond Australia as well. Because it's not just about my Australian tribe, it's also about building a global tribe as well. And, sometimes I know it sounds very far away because I'm still building my local tribe. But I do want to offer, this mindset shift for you as well, because if you were to living in this globalized world, right, there's only two way that we are going with the trend with AI and technology expansion. We are either reactive to it or we are proactive to it, right? And what I mean by that is most of the people, when they are not living a conscious life, when they are living in an autopilot, right, and how societies or traditional education system or government have been designed the life of how they should live their life, most of the people they are living on autopilot and they're reactive to the change, right? So when the world become globalized, when technological expansion become this accelerate rate, right, of making changes in our day to day, people react to it, right, by following the footstep, right? Oh, something changed, so I changed myself and to fit it. But a proactive way, right, which I believe myself Reliance is all about being proactive as well, right? It's being able to actually shift yourself to already embody and integrate a global mindset, right? So that you are actually 10 steps ahead of the trend of how it has been changing. And it's the same with community as well. And I believe that's why, Kelly is beautifully also expanding with myself Reliance to nationally as well, right? From having more regional or local space to actually nationally wide, right? Because it is the same formula. Sometimes when we are building a collective space together, being able to have that shared values, right? To be able to share with people through technology, like online Zoom calls like this, it would never be possible just 10 years ago, but now we can, right? And when once you can build that, right? Like because in Mindvalley, I was also hosting a lot of online global meditation circles, during lockdown as well, before all this in-person event happened in Australia. And that's how you actually got to really build global relationships with people from different countries as well, from different background, different hair color, eye color. And now I'm very grateful because I'm also traveling to the Mindvalley event again in Amsterdam. That's why I was traveling for 3.5 months next. And I'm glad, Kelly, you got to catch me on the call tonight as well before I come back around October and possibly see you in the Freedom Life Summit as well again. But yeah, I will encourage all of you, both those on live here and also watching the recording, to be able to be proactive as well. When you are 10 steps ahead of the trend, right? Especially doing this together with the community, you are definitely going into a thriving state. When you're building your life, right, in all category of life, rather than being a reactive, being limited by locals resources only, right? So yeah, I hope that also drop another notes in terms of mindset shift as well on how we can actually receive this benefit, because right now, as most people like Kelly, when you saw me on social media being able to travel and being in so many beautiful communities, there's steps to live a life by design to get there. And I'm no special, I'm also a nobody coming from just Hong Kong in a survival state. But building one step at a time, you can totally get to travel more frequently, more meaningfully, and also traveling together with more people who are like-minded as well.
So I have two questions, and because we're talking about being a step ahead, in our community, sometimes we're a bit fearful of the technology because sometimes we feel like it's going to isolate us. Having our phone and being able to scroll. Sometimes people feel more alone than ever, but we want to stay connected,
Mm,
and so that leads me kind of to the next question would be Emma's question that she's put in the chat. What holds community together? So
mm.
yeah.
Yeah. That's a beautiful question, and I think there's some layers that is very urgent to our world right now as well, right? As technology itself, are we going to become more isolated or become more connected, right? And what really separates to that two paths, right? As it also comes with 2 days, our key theme as well, from isolation to connection. It's actually about the human consciousness, right? Our collective consciousness of how we are using that technology. So let's dial back, right? Without talking about AI, without talking about, all the rocket ship, going to Mars with Elon Musk and everything, right? If we dial back just as simple as technology, right? Like a kitchen knife, right? Cannot, kitchen knife is a very amazing technology. Without it, like we can't cook food, right? And here's a funny thing, because whether a knife can be used to cook and serve amazing food for our family, or whether you use that to stab somebody, right? It has nothing to do with that technology piece itself. right? But it has everything to do with our own human consciousness, right? And by consciousness, I mean that conscious awareness, your conscious awareness that allows you to live this life, right? To have this conscious power of making decision, to be able to experience this full spectrum of human experience, right? So that itself could never be taken away by technology, and technology itself would never be able to really replicate this consciousness itself as well, right? Because it really comes tying to our soul, if you may, right? That is, we living a life that is so much more than just a meat body, right? But there's so much more deeper essence inside us, right? Inside us, right? So to answer the question, I think the first layer is to understand technology itself actually is an inert, it's a neutral subject itself, right? But how people, especially for community like us, right, who strive to make humanity better, to make our environment better, right, to make the world a better place, it's very important to actually using technology to help us feeling more connected, right? Creating conveniency and apps right on our phone, the different things that we can share knowledge together, right? How we can live a self-sustainable life, but at the same time sharing a lot of this knowledge through technology that actually help us to being more connected, right? Rather than going into an isolation where we are trying to use technology as an escape, right? So that is kind of like the separation, I would say. And to answer Emma's question as well about what holds community together, right? I think interestingly, it is a very similar answer as well, because it is also human consciousness that binds community together. Because human consciousness also encompass the values, right? The shared values, the core values of a shared space, of a community, right? Because let's say a soccer club, right? People are bound by possibly loving the same football team, right? That binds community together, right? And at the same time, you can go to a mom's cup as well, right? Where they are bound by shared values about parenting, possibly, right? They are bound by a lot different values that they are living in their life in common. So at the end, right, it is our conscious awareness of understanding what my own individual core values are, right? That what kind of life I want to create and cultivate, and hence looking into what are actually the available space around us, big or small community, right? That can support us to get from where we are now to where we want to go, right? And having a very fun, beautiful collective journey to do it together rather than doing it alone, right? So yeah, and I think that's another element about holding community together. Because we can look at it also from different dimension as well. Just like how we look at, the mind, body, spirit of our life, right, of our own person. We can actually use the same formula to look at community, that a community actually has its own mind and body and spirit. Right. And what I mean by that is the mind of a community is similar to what Kelly has been sharing, right? The vision of why we actually are here, right? Why we want to be self-sustained, why we want to be able to help more people to live outside the societal matrix, right? To be able to share knowledge to do that. That's the mind, right? That's the mind of the space. So no matter what kind of occupation you are in, if you share the same mind, then you will love this space, right? And there's also a body of this community as well, because the body itself, let's say, right, like in Freedom Live Summit, there's an in-person space. That's the body. How we're putting up the flyer, the tents, right? And still remember last time I was there, all the caravan, they are parking, in the beautiful space, which actually inspired me to actually go on my caravan journey very soon in Australia as well. But story for another time. And those are actually the body of community, right? Because how we're interacting with each other in the physical space and also online space as well, because that's also a physical attribute of it through technology, right? That actually also ties community differently together, right? And also the spirit of a community. And I think it's a very interesting one, especially it sometimes really depends on how conscious developed the community is. And I believe myself, Reliance is one of the very, consciously developed space in Australia here, right? Because these are people who are into personal growth. They are into creating a better life, right? They are into not just living the normal 9 to 5 or the day-to-day that, the government has been telling us to live in the same way for so many years from the Industrial Revolution, right? So the spirit itself means what we are passionate about, right? What are the deep purpose of this space, right? What really binds us together, also energetically, right? How do we feel when we're walking into a space with myself, Reliance, when we show up on a Tuesday call, right? So that is the spirit component of a community as well. So when you understand that mind, body, and spirit part of community, that's actually what holds community together, right? Just like how mind, body, spirit component actually hold us as an individual together. And once we see it, we can't unseen it, right? And that's why sometimes, having this insight-based understanding, right? And the reason why it's called insight is because it's a sight from within, right? A sight from within. So once you have this insight-based growth together with your community, that is where the bonding actually keeps hold together even stronger, stronger, and stronger. Yeah.
I love that. Don't you guys all love that explanation? That's who we are. We're connected with mind, body, and spirit, and that's so much love there when you're whole, when you're out of what do we say, out of alignment or out of balance. It's when your mind is over here and your heart is over here and you're not acting as one. But when we come together and we are aligned with our mind, body, and spirit, that's, as a community, that's so powerful. So powerful. Thanks for sharing that, Freeman.
Yeah, and absolutely, Kelly. I think that's to reiterate that point, right? Because that is the question about how we form community. But equally, it's actually the other way around, right? Equally, it's the same. That what separates community or pull community apart, right? Is actually having that mind and heart separation, right, within the community. And that's almost like a separation of that mind, body, and spirit of that community, right? And that's why becoming consciously aware how it actually operates at the end in a collective space is so essential for making sure every individual in that community will be able to thrive as well. Because otherwise, it is very common, especially when we talk about technology and AI today, it is going to create certain isolation as well when we are not having this right balance with that mind, body, spirit component in the community as well.
Wow. Wow, powerful, guys. And so this, tell us more about how this, because we're starting to see your own personal journey, right? How you came to Australia, the kind of headspace that you were in when you were living in Hong Kong, and now you've transformed that through your Mindvalley through COVID years, and now you are developing. Well, you've written the book, the Travel to Transform. So all of those pieces coming together for you. What do you hope to achieve when you go to this the university in it's 3 weeks, isn't it, in Amsterdam? I was reading about that. I'm like, oh, that looks good. What do you want to achieve
Yeah.
there?
Wow, so very looking forward already. It's one of my highlight every year because not because it's just the traveling component, but because being surrounded by your family, right? Where you can see people from all different parts of the world in the same community, but you can call each other brother and sister. That itself, is so valuable, right? And what I'm hoping to achieve, I think for me, right, travel to transform. For those of you who may not know my work yet, right, travel to transform. It means using travel as the modality for your personal transformation, right? Because travel truly is so much more than just an escape, right? Travel is so much more than just a vacation, right? To me, it's actually the ultimate self-development tool, right? It's a catalyst to extraordinary living. And the more consciously you are aware about that, the more you can accelerate fast success in your life, right? And that's why I'm so passionate about it because not just me, my life had been changed through traveling to become a citizen of the world, but all my clients, all my best friends who are also going through the same stages of journey, right? They accelerate their fast success as well. So community is definitely one of those components inside Travel to Transform because now we got to not just bonding with local community, but global communities as well, right? And for me, my personal goal is actually to further transform communities. What I mean by that is, sometimes when we talk about community, we think about it like a circle. Right. And, it is very true, back in the days with tribe and everything, I think circle is a really good way to present how community or tribes looks like. Right. And I believe that is a very great start for communities to come together, for the individuals to emerge and, being able to bond together. But for me, I realized, as I have been growing different successful community, because other than Mindvalley, I'm also, in Sydney Integral as well, which is Ken Wilber's work with Integral Living. I'm also in Lumen VT, which is like a biotech, molecular hydrogen, as some of you know, I'm about hackers as well. I'm also in different network marketing space with Usana. I believe a couple of you were mentioning network marketing earlier before we start recording this call, right? So I am in different spaces and also being able to create space that is actually beyond just a circle. And what I mean by that is you can think about rather than drawing a 2D circle on a piece of paper, when you transform it into the next layer, right, you can actually have spheres, which is three-dimensional, right? And now it becomes more interesting because rather than have different communities and different 2D circles, right, on a piece of paper that we're defining, this is called myself Reliance, that is Dr. Aspen Breathwork tribe, that is Wim Hof cold therapy tribe. That is, rather than having this very distinct separation of, okay, these are the different spaces. Now we actually get to transform further, which I believe is the trend, or at least it is my personal growth of how we can transform further communities in a global scale, which is having all the circles to become spheres. Because when they become spheres, the spheres can overlap in a three-dimensional way. Or I should say five-dimensional way, if you may, if those of you who are into different spiritual work and understanding the level of consciousness. But without complicating too much, transforming it from just circles into spheres, now we can have different overlapping of communities together. And what that means is we can have people inside certain communities that are also within other communities that I have connection with, because that serve their own personal path. So I can give you an example, right? Some of my clients, right, they are movement leaders. And actually, I saw Anna just joined as well. Hello, Anna. Love to have you. Some of my clients, they are movement leaders, right? And they are in my conscious community. Very likely they are also in Mindvalley as well, because that's where they got the personal growth tool. But I also have other communities, such as network marketing, right? Which is all about health and well-being, right? And using the world's highest quality supplement, right? And that actually complement, right, what we are creating in other space. Right. And I'm also in martial arts as well. So I'm training with a Shaolin masters, right? I think I shared a little bit of that story last time in our last call. And I'm training in the Sydney Olympic Park, right? So that actually gave me another fitness and martial art community, right? That also overlap with my work, right? About mind, body, and spirit. It also overlap with my other, communities as well. So if you think about it that way, that is actually the trend that we can start creating multidimensional relationship with the people around you, right? So that you're not just in one community, identify yourself only in one place, but you allow yourself to expand to the possibility that you can tap into this global potential, right? This possibility of you meeting an amazing person in my self-reliance and open up door for you, no matter it's a business opportunity, right? Health and wellness opportunity, or even just inviting a friend, to come to your place, have dinner, right? Organic meal dinner, of course, we're talking about in my self-reliance space, right? But that overlapping actually is so possible now because of the exponential changes of, again, technology and also human consciousness as well. So yeah, my personal goal, like as I travel, because Mindvalley, in Amsterdam is actually one of my trip, but I'm actually traveling for 3.5 months. I'm going to Berlin in Germany next. After Amsterdam, I'm going to Greece to the Athens Nomad Fest as well, because I'm also in travel communities. I just come back from Vietnam. I spoke at the Vietnam Nomad Fest as well, and I have this amazing nomad community that I'm serving, and hence I'm going to Athens as well, right? And then I'm going to Japan in Fukuoka, which is like a 1-month co-living event. For those of you who may not know, Fukuoka is like one of the most peaceful provinces in Japan. That's very different from Tokyo and Osaka. But they are doing this co-living events for people around the world to come together to immerse in that culture. So it's like a cultural community as well. So like all these different spaces I'm traveling to and speaking at and also building community together, I'm meant to be really transforming the space to be multidimensional, right? To allow more multi-passionates to be able to grow in an exponential rate. So yeah, that's a long answer to a short question about what my goals are. But to make it relevant to everyone who is listening as well, and also those who are watching the recording, you get to ask yourself, right, when you are being involved in a community, right, how you can actually take that next step to go from this 2D kind of thinking to a 3D kind of thinking, right? What are the different category of your life, right? No matter it's like your intellectual growth, your spiritual growth, your emotional growth, right? How you can actually integrate them into the 3D spheres inside the community that you can tap into, right? And I promise you, once you shift that from 2D to 3D, as you are being involved in community, you're gonna see again exponential new relationship and genuine relationship coming into your life as well.
I want to highlight something you said about the traveling, because I feel like when a lot of people travel, they travel unconsciously. They travel to see the world, they travel to get away from things, they travel to leave something behind. But really, the way you travel is to observe yourself in different environments. And I'm a lot of the time when people travel, you bump up against different kinds of people, circumstances that are out of your control, especially at the airport and things, and a lack of sleep, and you get to observe yourself in new environments that are maybe challenging you in different ways. And I feel like that piece of it itself, when you're able to be non-judgmental, but just observe the state that you're in and how you react to it, that is an opportunity to transform oneself. Wouldn't you say? And then because I love the whole transformation, personal development is a passion piece for me, and looking at how I, transform my old ways of thinking and so forth. And so I just, just taking that consciousness to the next level, in community, observing yourself. That was all really relevant to me when you were talking about that.
Yeah, and I think that's why we love and I think that's a really great example for me and Kelly actually being in different spheres of communities, that how we cross path in different spaces, and we get to serve different spaces as well. And 100%, because the more you being able to consciously aware about your own travel journey, right? And this is why again I love my word travel to transform, because I'm sure you have learned so many different modalities, right? For you being in this space, right, in my self-reliance, I'm sure you have learned a lot of amazing modalities and alternatives that not normally they would be present in traditional education again, right? And I'm sure, in that process, you have learned to build a new relationship with money, right? How to see that bank note. What does it really mean to you, right? You have built a new relationship with your emotion, right? Your emotional bodies, right? You being able to heal yourself, right? And you also build a new relationship with many different parts of you, right? And I think it is actually the same thing, that we want to build a conscious relationship with our own traveling as well. Because if you are serious about traveling, then it's not just about vacation one time here and there, a trip here and there, right? And by the way, it doesn't matter, even though I know we spoke about a lot of my global travel. It has been a 12-year journey for me. For those of you, it doesn't feel immediate, compatible, just think about traveling to the next states, right? To the next states. That's it, right? Traveling to your next block. It doesn't have to be flying on a plane in order for you to travel, because as long as you are going outside your comfort zone, right? As long as you are going outside your own mental bubble and physical bubble, it actually is already traveling, right? And the way I love to explain it is when you are traveling to a different places, right? Geographically different, right? You are actually extracting yourself, from the set of values, from that mental framework, from all the day-to-day belief that you have been living in, almost like an autopilot, into a completely new space where you get to actually have the space for you to find yourself, right? Or to reconnect with yourself, right? And to reconnect with the world, to the past that you have yet to see, right? That's for me, it's actually shadow works, right? For those of you who may not familiar, it's a shadow integration, means we are shining lights on the unawareness, right? The past that we are unaware. And most of the time, from an inner work perspective, right? As Carl Jung, who is the guy who speak of this shadow integration term, right? Um, Equally important, there's like shining light in this inward journey, but at the same time, it's also equally important to shine light on the external journey, right? Both work with one another, right? Because it's true that while there's a beautiful outside world, and for us to really explore the world, different spaces, the nature, right? At the same time, there's also this inner space where we want to travel to the depth of our mind, body, and spirit. And when you have these two worlds overlap, right? And when you find the sweet spot for you from your own travel blueprint, right? That sweet spot is travel to transform. And that's how you can accelerate your personal transformation as well. And by transformation, it means to go beyond your current formation, right? It means everything that is getting to everything that helps build up to your life to this moment right now, right? All the success you have created, you want to go beyond it. You want to transform that as well, right? You want to go beyond that formation that is holding you back, because you're always stepping into the next version of yourself, right? You're always stepping into the next step of your greatness, right? Through an authentic path. So yeah, a lot of overlap for sure.
Yeah,
Kelly.
and another example of that was like how we transform. When I was running the summit last year, and just to make it really clear, because you mentioned money, I was bumping up against myself, right? Like there's so many things that you can do that's really like, yeah, I know how to do that. I've got my handle on that, and especially in business, you get to a point where you run out of your own, like you reach your boundaries. It's like, okay, I've done everything I know to do to get to this point, and now I've hit some kind of a upper limit, and now I
Mm.
need help to go to the next level. And I reached out to Freeman, and I'm like, I need help to go to the next level because I'm getting a little bit stuck, and it was around money. And so I reached out to Freeman around that, and you're such a good coach because like what a good coach does is they shine light on an area of darkness that you can't see, and so then you can step out into that light and know where your next steps are. And so um what what now that so what why I'm saying all this is because as we get ready for this summit, Freeman's going to come and share your light. We are going to talk about money. We're going to our 5 pillars of self-reliance: money, health, food, relationships, and education. Um, which of those 5 areas do you feel like you can shine the most light on to talk from at the summit?
I actually love all those pillars, and I'm sure I think down the road, I think what best could serve your community is actually to understand what are their biggest pain experience at the moment, and we can totally see how we can tailor that for your community, right? And I think it's a beautiful example again, and thanks for sharing that on live here as well. Last time I think we have a deeper conversation, right? Because on a normal conversation we can't really understand how our relationship with money actually looks like. But by going into a safe space, right, we actually get to open up the programming, right? It's like you're on a laptop, you keep opening, it crash, right? You can't just fix it with the same level of operating system, right? As Einstein say, you can't solve the problem coming from the same level of consciousness with the same level of consciousness, right? That's a paraphrase, but it's essentially the same. When I hit a robot with my relationship with money, right, it does mean there are certain things that I have yet to see. And that's why working with coach or working with people you can trust is actually such a beautiful way. And again, even in community, they are full of people around you, right, who you can feel safe to be able to go deeper into really redefining what is it that is blocking me, right? And I think that's a very beautiful example because now you get to also share that with the bigger communities as well, right? On the transformation you go through, and hence this transformation is going to ripple out the different impacts and the positive change for everyone as well. But yeah, I think that's a really good point that now I would love to even share more about how that operating system actually stops us, right? Because sometimes we may look at a different category of life, and I think that's relevant to pretty much anyone in the call, because we all have certain problems or obstacles that we are facing, including myself. Like I'm no perfect. I also have my own coaches, right? I also have my own community to help me on my next level of problem, right? But the thing is, right, you can think about it this way. I always love using this metaphor, is that you can think about the different components of how the mind is operating. Yeah. So what I mean by that is, I'm sure everybody have a phone, right? No matter you're using iPhone or Android, you have a phone, right? And it breaks down into different parts, right? First is the hardware, right? So the hardware is like the body, right? And that's why I think in myself Reliance is amazing that we're talking about eating organic, right? We're okay, serving the best food for the next generation, right? Organic farming and fermentation. It's great because it means we're upgrading that hardware, right? Because we can't use an iPhone 3 and expect ourselves to be running the program in iPhone 18 now, is it? Like I lost track how many, which version I'm using iPhone 13 mini myself. But you get what I mean, right? The hardware itself is the first component, which I believe in our communities here, it's a very conscious, step that, even the program last time in Freedom Life Summit, with ice bath and breath work, ecstatic dance, it's a lot about upgrading our body, right? Now, but here's the funny thing, right? Because there's also the other part of it, which is the software, right? Which is the app, right? And here's where it gets really, really interesting because the app itself is actually our belief system, right? So the software is our belief system. And when you put different apps together, right, into a folder, that folder becomes your worldview. Yeah. So different beliefs, right? Different apps put together in a folder, that's your worldview. Right. And that's why we'll never, there's no the same person because we all have different apps and software running inside. Now, here's the funny thing, because most people, when they stumble across a problem, right, especially when it comes to money, yeah, and it also happened to me as well. I'm not saying this on a high horse. I say it I went through this ridiculous pain, as I was sharing earlier about losing my saving, in COVID and, all the different things when I start my business, right? The thing about we trying to solve the problem with money is that most people, we try to install a new app, right? Oh, now this is not working. I'm not having enough income. My expense is too high. The cost is, this and that. That software itself, most people, they try to go out in the world solving it by installing a new app. The neighbor next door, they say drop shipping is amazing. Let's do drop shipping. The other person say network marketing is amazing. Wait, which company? Let's try, and I'm not saying, you can't do that. However, a more powerful way to understand how you can overcome the problem that you're facing is understanding other than switching the app, which is part of your belief, which is essential, but behind the software, there's actually this operating system as well, right? In iPhone, it's called iOS, right? In Android, it's another wording, but they always have an operating system behind, right? And that operating system is actually your level of conscious development, right? Because once you actually develop a better awareness about your relationship with money, right? How you are defining money to you, right? Whether money is the root of all evil or money is actually easy and fun to have, right? Or money is easy to make, and the more money I have, the more people I can help, right? It's a positive statement. If you are running your operating system, right, with that level of consciousness, then by the law of attraction or by the law of resonance, right, or by whatever metaphysics theory you want to put in, that the universe is going to give you more of that, right? Because your operating system is telling the universe, right, or God, that I am ready to receive more because these are my beliefs and they are the positive belief, right? And that's why I hope, this tours helps as well. Again, we can go into a whole keynote here or you can go into a whole coaching session in order to put it into very practical way of showing it. But I hope by
Just
drawing
want
out
to
the
ask the
framework.
ask the ask the group. Give us a thumbs up or an emoji if this is resonating with you. What Freeman's saying. This the operating system. Yeah, really
Amazing.
powerful. Yeah, so great. It's so easy. Oh, this job isn't working out for me. I'm going to get a new job,
Hmm.
or I'm gonna, this relationship isn't working out for me. I'm going to break up and find someone new. Well, what's the operating system? That's running behind that has these situations. Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Exactly.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah, and I
powerful.
think that's why your community here, there are so much potential, right, to unleash transformation and growth together, right? Because these are people who are understanding there's an operating system behind. So now if we give them the tool to upgrade the operating system, right, they are now fast tracking their success. Because just like you said, now I'm not trying to blame something else. I'm not saying this app is trash. I need to download that app instead, right? My friends try that app, my friend tried that modality, try the sound healing, it works best. Let me try it as well. And I'm not saying you can't try it, but what if we take a step back and realize, wait, my operating system, if you're an Apple user, great, I'm running on iOS 1, right? And all the apps nowadays require us to force update to iOS 18. No wonder my life feels stuck, right?
Yeah.
No wonder I don't see the money coming into my bank account because I'm trying to run iOS 1 with the
Yes.
requirement of 18, right?
Yes. Yeah. The ego, that we operate as a 3 or 4 year old, that doesn't work. I want, give me, if we go into relationships with that running in the operating system, yeah, it doesn't work. Um, mm, yeah, no, we love that conversation on money and um Gail, what was your question for Freeman around the money
Oh,
piece?
just to repeat what he said, I just thought that sentence that he said was so key. Um,
You mean the belief system, is it?
yeah. Just that one sentence that you said, just mate, that just resonated with me, which is what I.
Mm. Yeah, let's
Great.
do that.
I, I that's where I am at the moment. Okay, I'm stuck in this whole money pit, and I
mm,
grew up with believing that money was the root of all evil,
yeah.
and I need to let go of that. And what you actually said, I want to make my mantra. I think that's fantastic, but I can't remember what you said.
Mm. Yeah, so let's go deep into this. Like it's funny you say that because like last week I literally have the same conversation with one of my coaching clients as well. And when this is so powerful because once we realize we have been infused a belief system that money is the root of all evil, then of course we can't have more money. The universe is not going to give you that because it means you're going to become more evil, right? So in order to replace that belief system, right, we
Yeah,
can actually believe money is fun and easy, right? The
yes,
more money I have, yeah, the more money I have, the
yes,
more resource I can share with people, the more abundance I can share with people, right? And I believe this call is recorded, so definitely feel free to revisit. But I think this is a really great conversation because I think we can actually highlight, right, what are the limiting beliefs that we have, because in societies it's very common, right, that rich people, they are evil, they are doing bad in the world, right, that money doesn't grow on tree, right, it comes from hard work and all this stuff. And if you think about it, it's actually bullshit, because whether you believe money is difficult to make or whether it's easy to make, you get
yes.
to choose.
Well, it's
And you got to,
an
mm,
energy, Freeman, isn't it?
exactly.
It's an energy. It's an energy field, and you're exactly right in what you're saying, and that's why, wow, this is profound to me because I've been stuck in it for so long, and now I understand. It's rather than worrying about you know where's my money going to come from tomorrow to pay that bill, or I've just got to go. I have faith that money will come. I'm in abundance. It's fun. It's positive. it's an energy source that we share with others. Therefore, I can help others better their life. You know, I like it. I get it. Yeah, I've just got to say it over and over.
Beautiful, Gal. Wow. And thanks for vulnerability, sharing it with the community as well. Because, this is exactly what we all go through as a human experience, right? And until the point that we make a conscious decision to change the belief, right? And just like you said, using affirmation, right? To keep repeating to my subconscious mind so that when I wake up, right? I truly believe the more zeros I can see in my bank account, the more people I can help, right?
Yeah.
And when you can really integrate and embody that energy into your day-to-day, into your conversation, right? Then the money will flow. It will flow into you because that's how the energy signal works, right? You're telling God, you're telling universe that I want more because I want to serve, right?
Yeah.
And hence, you can only receive more results. And since you mentioned that, I think that's one more very powerful one, a very powerful statement I actually recently get to shift and install as well. As Kelly, you may know, one of my mentors is Regan Hillier. She's one of the biggest Mindvalley teachers, the manifestation queen, or serial entrepreneur, philanthropist.
I love her. She's amazing.
She's an amazing global citizen, and aspire a lot of my own travel lifestyle as well. And one of the things that she actually worked together with me, which is very powerful, is because I'm sure many of you, even you have shifted your belief that you are gonna still work hard, right? Because we have to do something in order to get the money, right? We have to do something or build a product, build a business, right? Find more clients, right? In order to receive more monetary value. However, what she really shifted me into this next level advanced statement is the more I sleep, the more I sleep, the more money I make.
The more I sleep, the more money I make. Yes. Wow.
The more I sleep, the more money I make. And that was so powerful, especially I think for those of you and Gail, and I think Wilmer, you have mentioned about network marketing, right? And if you have like a network marketing or a side hustle or side business, right? It means when you are sleeping, you are making money. Then why are we sacrificing our sleep and recovery and our downtime, right? In order to do something more and hoping we can get some more money. Right, it is the same belief, so it is a very powerful one, and that's why for Regan herself, she is also on the world's fitness magazines, not just on Forbes, but recently she was on Glamour as well, and that's actually one of the powerful beliefs she has. She runs so many different 20-30 businesses, right? But at the same time, she's so fit and she sleeps religiously, and that's because she has this belief that now I also install the more I sleep, the more money I make. And it's true to me because I also have a book, as you say, Travel to Transform. I also have my my online courses as well, right? So when you look at technology that way, now you're also building more connections because you can connect with the people that you serve while you're sleeping as well, right? So yeah, that's a bonus money belief to share with everyone tonight too.
Belief systems is everything.
Our beliefs create our reality, right? Our beliefs create the reality. So if people think they are not having enough money, right, and they work a second job, but in the same, they still have the same belief that money is the root of all evil, then even though I'm making more income or cash flow from my second job, we are still going to lose it one way or another, right? We're going to lose it by accidental tax bill. We're going to lose it by our car breakdown, right? Whatever unexpected thing is going to happen, because it is matching what our belief system is putting into the reality itself, right? Mm-hmm. So only by changing our belief first to build a conscious relationship with money, right? Then we actually got to shift how we experience actually feeling in abundance, right? And again, also tying back to today's theme, right, about community. This is a very powerful thing because many of you will safely and vulnerably sharing it. Now you recognize, wow, it's actually not just me, but so many of us are feeling the same way, right? And I totally feel it, especially because my self-reliance is a space that we really, really want to break out from the matrix, right? From what the government and society tell us, this is the only way, which never resonate with you, and that's why you are in this space. Right. And in order to break that, right, I'm sure you know how energy works, right? Even chemistry back in, if you are studying chemistry, it's like two bond, two molecule, right? In order to form a new molecule, right? You have to break the first bond and then form another second bond. But the second bond, that energetic, has to be more powerful than the first bond in order for the first one to break and then form the second one, right? It's the same thing. So when you get to do it all together as a community, right? Especially with Kelly having this as one of the pillars for this year, prepare for you, then you all got to do this transformation together, right? And receive the abundance more as a collective as well.
Thank you for pointing that out, Freeman, because I think what sets us apart, our freedom community to other freedom communities, is that we are very proactive, and we want to, like, if you look on our channel, we don't promote the negativity in the world and there's lots of things that you could spend your energy on, but we proactively try and spend our energy on things that we are in our control, and things that we can uplift our mindset and our belief system so that we can be free. We don't call it the Freedom Summit because we are trying to get free of necessarily the oppression, although that is true, but we become free within our mind. That's the real freedom, is unlocking those blocks that keep us low or down, and that's when we unhinge those chains, then we can actually be free. And so sometimes I don't articulate that within our community, but I try to instill it just with the kinds of conversations that we have, the kinds of posts that we put on our group. But I think you've articulated it beautifully.
Yeah, and I think that's why, again, right, we have so many overlaps in our work and also beliefs in community, because I think what we are building, right, is so relevant to the people that we are serving, right? And you are completely right. I'm all about freedom as well. It's my core value, not just because my English name is Freeman, but it's about creating multidimensional freedom, right? And in fact, right, since your community is very consciously developed, let me share something. I love sharing sometimes my keynote as well. In on stages that people would get it, right? So you can think about it this way, because a lot of the people, when we speak about, we have talked about community, we have talked about money, right? We have talked about, now let's talk about freedom, right? Because we can actually rewire a lot of the way that how we see community, how we see money, and also how we see freedom. Yeah. Because most of the time, right, when we talk about freedom, it is a very general term sometimes. It's like a big umbrella of things. It means different things to different people. And most people will feel like liberation is like, I just have this free will to do whatever I want. That's freedom, right? Which is, kind of true sometimes. But what if we can look at freedom by understanding and conceptualizing it multidimensionally? Yeah. So what I mean by that is, and there's an acronym, right? Acronym FELT, right? FELT. I'll type in the chat as well. FELT, right? So if you understand freedom and you do it right? You can shift from living partial freedom to total freedom. Yeah, from partial freedom to total freedom. And what Kelly, you were just mentioning about is exactly why your community is different, because you are not people who are chasing for only partial freedom. Most people, they are chasing time for money, right? That's partial freedom. Or even people, they live a very healthy life, right? But they are broke. Still, that's partial freedom, right? Maybe people, they are not living in a societal matrix, right? They have their own place. They are being able to be self-sustained, right? But they don't have the meaningful connections or community. That's still partial freedom, right? But total freedom means it encompasses all dimensional freedom. And to help you remember, right, it's very easy, FELT, right? F-E-L-T. Because now you can become consciously aware that there's at least 4 dimensional freedom, which F stands for financial freedom, right? It's very self-explanatory. E is emotional freedom, right? Which is exactly what Kelly is talking about the fulfillment, right? About understanding the self-awareness piece, right? The deep purpose of how I'm serving the world, right? That understanding happiness is our birthright, right? That's emotional freedom, right? And we have L as well, which is location freedom, right? Which is also important to me. And that's why I love having both my life in Australia, in Hong Kong, and also globally, right? To be able to have a freedom to be in different places as well, right? And T stands for time freedom, right? At the end, you'll realize the only real currency here is time, right? Because we can't earn back time in a sense, right? That's only the eternal moment of now, right? But there's no other possibility of being able to gain back this currency called time. So if you understand this four-dimensional freedom, which means now you get to build your life multidimensionally, so that you will stop trading one freedom with another, right? Stop trading time freedom for another freedom, right? Stop trading financial freedom from emotional freedom, right? So I hope that helps as well as a bonus to redefine how we actually got to experience and understand freedom as well. Because I bet you once you have this blueprint, obviously, again, from a coaching perspective, disclaimer, there are so much more, transformational work that, we have to go into the system, to the different layers of our belief system as well to rewire that. But for now, right, it's just this simple framework to understand, wow, there are actually four-dimensional freedom at least. Then whatever decision you're making from now on for the rest of your life, you get to ask yourself, am I trading one freedom for another freedom if I'm doing this, right? Or whether I can build my life with four-dimensional freedom altogether without sacrificing any. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. I hope after this conversation, people are inspired to do their own personal development work, whether it's reading a book or doing a course or getting a coach or, doing meditation or something that is uplifting and helps you to unlock some of those, um, conscious levels. And so, look, if anyone wants to keep following Freeman in his work or connect with other, we connect in My Self-Reliance, but also when Freeman talks about overlapping, I'm also in his Conscious Wings group on WhatsApp, and we get together in Sydney as well. So look, there's lots of ways that we can connect, and I think tonight's been so inspiring. You just rocked my world, Freeman. It's one of my favorite calls all year. So yeah, really
Pleasure,
appreciate
Mike,
you
Kelly,
being
and
here.
lovely to be back, in this community. Yeah, just in Sydney, I think last time we were speaking, this space is just so, so, so beautiful. It's unlike any other spaces, right? I'm in many, many personal growth community, but being able to look at it in a self-sustained perspective, right? Being able to have this harmony with nature altogether. Yeah, this is very unique. So thanks for inviting me again, Kelly. And yeah, I'm very active on social media as well. If you want to stay in touch, my Instagram handle is Freeman Fung Official. Feel free to drop me a note and send me a voice note anytime as well, especially if you, after this today's conversation, especially about your belief system about money or freedom or even community or even on your own travel. Yeah, I'm more than happy to help. So yeah, leave me a voice note and follow each other's journey. And yeah, I can't wait to see you or also in person as well after my overseas trip.
That's right, because if you follow Freeman, he makes the coolest videos of his trips and what he's up to, and then he'll be gone for the next few months on these amazing journeys that we just talked about, and then back hopefully in October, just in time, right, for our Freedom Summit. So, yeah, looking forward to connecting with you again there, and thanks again for your heart and your heart, mind, body, and spirit. We appreciate you. And safe travels.
Thanks so much. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks
Pleasure,
for
Mike.
being here, everyone. And don't forget to come back next week, because not only are we going to draw the raffle prize, but we also have a lady coming on. I'm just trying to think of her first name. I've got her last name in my mind. Nadia. And Nadia is going to talk about embodiment training. So we're going to continue this kind of transformational conversation, and she will take it to the next level of embodiment. And she does Hawaiian massage, amongst other things. you're going to be lucky we've had this conversation, because it's going to prepare you for next week. Is all I want to say. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next week.